So first of all, again, we'd like to welcome everybody. Day 4, Wine and Wellness Week now. Week's going real quick. Fall 2014. So some of you have been here every day. Some of you, this is your first time. So I'd like to welcome you for coming out. Okay. Anybody else here new for the first time? Okay. So again, we have these every couple months. Our next one, just so you have the date down, is going to be the weekend after Thanksgiving. That first Saturday, I believe it's November 29th to December 6th. Okay, so we have these every couple months. Take advantage of the specials, which are on the best in the country. My name is Mike Gallagher. Some of you know me, some of you might not. So just give you a little quick background. I'm a certified lifestyle educator. I've been in the nutritional industry for almost 20 years. I'm only here during the wellness weeks at the Dr. Wander's clinic here to help answer any questions. But I go around and I travel to different doctors' offices, to different clinics, and I educate them on the latest research on nutrients, the science behind this. And we try to also implement nutritional programs as well in their offices. So my official title is a wellness consultant for Nutritional Frontiers. But again, you can ask me any questions about anything. If I don't know the answer, I will try my best to get the answer for you, but there aren't too many things I haven't run across in 20 years of doing this, okay? So today, Dr. Wander wanted me to speak about something that's a serious problem, serious health issue. It's one of our most often asked questions is sleep and stress. Sleep and stress. So the great thing about this is we can dramatically help you very quickly with this. But again, these are supplements. We still want to make sure that we're doing everything else right. We're eating better, healthier foods. We prefer Mediterranean style foods. Know your sources. Get back to basics. Lean proteins. Wild organic as much as possible. Right? Fresh fruits and veggies, good fats, good seeds, good nuts, okay, good oils. And then with stress reduction, again, there's just some very simple tips that anybody can do. And the number one tip I always suggest for stress is deep breathing exercise, deep breathing. And this is something that anybody can do. Doesn't cost anything. It's free, okay? And that's very simple. You just try to go into a room where there's no noise, okay? And I try to make it a dark room, so very little light or no light at all, or close your eyes. And you just, basically your count of 10, you're inhaling for 10, and you're exhaling for 10. And you want to just do this for several minutes. First start with 5 minutes, okay? And then maybe the next day 6 minutes, build up to 10 minutes of just deep breathing exercises, okay? Very simple and easy, but something like that, just for 10 minutes a day, can really help with your stress issues. And of course, exercise, doing some type of activity also helps with stress, helps on many different levels, but very important for stress issues as well. So there's a lot of different types of stress, and we listed several of them here. So first is stressed and tired. So we would associate this with adrenal issues, your adrenal glands. So our formula for that is called Adrenamax. Stress and wired is going the opposite direction. You're high strung, okay? That's typically a hormonal imbalance going on. So things like DHEA possibly can be helpful on that issue. Stress and hot, when we say stress and hot, we're talking about hot to touch, pain inflammatory issues. So some of our natural anti-inflammatories like our X-Flame or Inflame can be very helpful, or HA Plus can be very helpful if that stress is causing more inflammation going on in your body. And then stress and cold, and this is associated with thyroid. Stress and cold, thyroid issues. So stress can affect your thyroid, and this is where our Iodine Plus formula can be very helpful and beneficial for. Stress and depleted, this is more, again, this could be adrenal issue as well, or also can be a hormonal issue like DHEA or DHEA spray. Can also be helpful if there's energy levels associated there. And then the sleep and mood. Okay? So again, that's some of the major areas of stress. We'll talk about another one here in a minute as well. But these are your biggies. And again, we can help you on every one of these, but we have to recognize exactly what's going on first and foremost. So nutritionally, one of the top formulas that we've had some incredible success with at Nutritional Frontiers is called Calm Day. So this is a very unique formula. And what we're talking about, a lot of these supplements, we're focusing on in the brain, okay? And there's several major neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters are the messenger signals in your brain, okay? Your biggies, serotonin, dopamine, and GABA are some of your big ones. And Calm Day has been helpful to rebalance all of these different neurotransmitters. So this formula is going to really take the edge off, okay? It's going to really help with panic attacks, anxiety issues. But you also want to mention that this formula can be very helpful as far as focusing. So think of this formula not if you are just a super stressed out, high anxiety, panic attack person, but everybody has their daily lives, their daily situations, and you kind of go on these roller coaster days. You're up and bad, you have good things going on and then bad things, and you're constantly going through these motions, and that can play a toll on your body. So the Calm Day can really just kind of just level the playing field, just takes the edge off, and it just really keeps you level, so you're not too up, you're not too down, you're just really focused. And that's really, really one of the things that we get here symptomatically wise. People tell us that all the time. And also, this is excellent for ADD issues and ADHD and OCD, Calm Day as well, because again, that is a big issue with people who have these type of situations. So I'm just going to pass this formula around. If you have never seen this before, you can check it out. And so, but that's what this is really. It will not make you drowsy, okay? So we want to emphasize this. This will not make you drowsy. Just keeps you focused, and it really takes the edge off. So what's in it? Well, this is the breakdown of it, starting with this first ingredient, this very long-sounding name called 4-amino-3-phenobutyric acid. Then we have other aminos, L-taurine, glycine, your B vitamins, B5 and B6. Okay, so all these have a role, all these have a benefit on this, on these type of neurotransmitters, but this is the most important ingredient, is this first one. This very long-sounding name. It also goes by the name of phenobut, and that's either with the PH or with an F spelling. Okay, so some of you might be familiar with another supplement called GABA. Okay, so GABA is another neurotransmitter in your brain. And there are supplements out there that have GABA in it. But the research has shown that you cannot take GABA, you cannot orally swallow GABA, a supplement, and it will not go through the blood-brain barrier, will not pass through the blood-brain barrier. And so it really has very little to do with anything in your brain. Now, some people will say, well, I feel GABA, I notice GABA when I take GABA, if I've used it before. And that's because it actually works more as a muscle relaxant. And that's why you notice GABA. But as far as actually rebalancing, rewiring your circuitry, rebalancing GABA, GABA does not rebalance GABA. What's very unique about this formula, this ingredient, yep, absolutely. What's very unique about this ingredient, phenobut, is it does everything that GABA does, and it does pass through the blood-brain barrier. Okay? So this is what makes this so unique in this formula. So tons of research on this in Russia. They've used all kinds of studies. It's helped with sleep deprivation, helps protect the adrenal glands, so this would be very complementary to our Adrenamax. For example, it helps with cognitive and emotional disorders. It has been shown to help with anxiety, help with depression, help with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's been shown to help with all of these types of issues. So if you know anybody who has these issues, Calm Day would be excellent for as well. So please keep that in mind in addition to what we talked about, or yourself. Okay, so that's really important key ingredient. Second ingredient, glycine, which is another amino acid. There's research on this. It helps with strokes, and helps protect your brain cells, helps with anxiety, helps improve sleep quality. In fact, there's some companies out there who just sell glycine just by itself, and people have gotten great results with this. But again, we put it in this formula, and when we combine it with all these other ingredients, you're going to get even faster, quicker, more effective results, which is what we want. Third ingredient in the Calm Day is L-taurine. So this is another amino acid. There's lots of benefits of L-taurine. It helps with the heart. It does a lot of other things. But for this purpose, it actually acts as what's called a GABA receptor agonist, which is a fancy way of saying it enhances the GABA, which in this case, the phenibut is the GABA, so enhances that. Okay, so, and it also, there's research that enhances the glycine. So that is why we're using L-taurine in this formula as well. And then your B vitamins. So your B vitamins do lots of things. But one of the things that they do is it rebalances your serotonin and dopamine levels. It also, if you're low on these levels, it will actually increase. It helps with the production of your serotonin and dopamine levels. It also helps with the connection, the rewiring, as we like to say, as well. So B5 is very important, and the other ingredient is B6. B6. So both of the B vitamins that we're using, as we say, it helps with the production of all the different neurotransmitters, and here's all your big ones: GABA, dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. And again, B5 and B6 help with all those, and we're using the most absorbable form of B6 called peroxyl 5-phosphate, or otherwise known as P5P. A lot of companies are not using these forms. And why would a company not use these forms? Money, costs. So this is a higher form, it costs more money. A lot of supplement companies cut corners and are using cheaper forms that are B vitamins. So we are not. So again, you're going to get the maximum effect of this formula. Okay, so here's how we take the Calm Day. Very simple. We start with 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. Preferably on an empty stomach. You're going to get faster results on an empty stomach. Okay? You should notice this very quickly, within 1 to 2 days. Some people I've talked to notice it in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay? Everybody's a little bit different on that. So if you do not notice a difference in 1 to 2 days, then we double the dosage. We bump it up to 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. I have not had anybody that's taken 4 of these and have told me they do not feel a difference. Feel a difference. And so we have it in 60 capsules or 120 capsules. Okay? It is 30% off this week, so now would be a great opportunity, great time to try it out at 30% off. Pretty substantial discount as well. So this would be the #1 supplement for anxiety, panic attacks, any of those type of issues, and indirectly, again, it will help with your sleep as well during the daytime. Keeps you focused. There are some offices that I work with when I do staff trainings. When I introduce this formula Calm Day to them, I ask them when I see them again after they tried it, I say, how's it going? And they say to me, I can't live without my Calm Day. And then the doctor will say, yes, and we can't live without you being on Calm Day, right? So people really do see and feel a difference on this. By the way, for children Under 12, we would just do one in the morning. So for ADD, OCD, any of those type of issues, just one in the morning on the calm day. Okay? Any questions on this before we move on? Does that make sense? Yes. It actually acts as a muscle relaxant as well. Yep. So it just takes GABA to a whole new level. So I like to say like the next generation GABA or GABA 2.0. It's my personal way of saying it. Okay? Or GABA squared. But you get the drift. So we've had great results and it works fantastic. Now, another type of stress that we didn't talk about is stress eating. Stress eating. Is everybody a stress eater? No. Are most of the female stress eaters? Yes. And they like to blame the guys. That's the reason why they're stressed. So, if you are a stress eater, that's where this formula comes into play, control. And I'll just pass that around for you. This also, I've had some fantastic results with this as well for sugar cravings, as well as stress eating, as well as carbohydrate cravings. And this is also excellent for addictions of all types, including alcohol addiction and drug addiction. Because how this works on cortisol. And typically, all those symptoms that we're talking about typically all have very similar cortisol levels and cortisol pathways. So this formula is designed to help reduce those cortisol levels. And this works very quickly. Most people notice this the first day they take this. But there's 4 ingredients in this: L-tryptophan, Relora, rhodiola, and L-theanine. Okay, so those are the main ingredients with this. So with this formula, the way we would dose this would be 1, especially if you're a stress eater, by the way, would be 1 after lunch, 1 before dinner, and 1 after dinner. 3 a day. 3 a day. And you might say, well, why am I taking it in the afternoon and evening only? Because typically that's when most people have their higher cortisol levels. Okay, a very stressful day at work or stressful day, those cortisol levels rise, and you come home and boom, you attack the refrigerator. Take it out on the fridge. Okay? So this is really going to calm those cortisol levels down. And that's why we would typically time it when your cortisol levels are at the highest in the afternoon and evening period of time. Okay? So that's how we typically recommend this formula. Now there's only one medication that we would be concerned about with this particular one, and that is antidepressants and anxiety drugs. We would also put anxiety drugs on this here too as well. Okay? But if you're on the antidepressants, we would not really like to mix any antidepressant or any anxiety drug with tryptophan, or otherwise known as 5-HTP. Okay? Basically, they're one and the same. So anytime you see tryptophan or 5-HTP, it works on the same serotonin receptor sites as the drugs. Okay? So that would be the only caution with this particular formula, is if you're on an antidepressant or your anxiety drugs like the benzos, like Valium and Xanax and things of that sort. And we'll talk more about those here in a moment. Excuse me here. I'm going on that screen. Okay. If you're on those medications, we would recommend instead L-theanine, just L-theanine. Okay, so we're just going to pass that around. L-theanine can be used if you're on antidepressants or anxiety drugs. We would take it the same exact way, and it will not interfere with those medications. And L-theanine is also really excellent if you're having a panic attack or anxiety attack. Instead of reaching for that Xanax or Valium, you would take 2 L-theanine, and typically within 30 minutes, you feel much more calm, much more relaxed. Okay? So L-theanine is one of the safest ingredients that you can use. So that would be the option if that came to that situation there. So Put a little bit of information on L-theanine. It's been, again, helps with dopamine and GABA levels. Obviously affects mood and stress reducing effects as well. It also focuses on alpha brain waves associated with relaxed alert state. There's a 2004 study that we're referencing to that it was all participants reported significant absence of feeling exhausted upon awakening. So it doesn't leave you groggy, doesn't make you feel exhausted like the medications do. So it's very, 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 very safe to use. Okay, so those are more during the daytime. Now, what about at night? Sleep issues. Okay, so again, this is one of the most often asked questions that we get. These are all the different problems associated with sleep. And the two biggies, of course, you're either having trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep, right? Those are the two most common issues. So we'll address those. And obviously, if you're not sleeping, it's going to affect your daytime. So you start zoning off, start daydreaming, okay, zoning out, difficulty concentrating, right? Slower reaction times. And obviously, you're not a happy camper if you're not getting enough sleep. So you feel, you know, a little edgy, a little moody, a little grumpier as well. So how big of a problem is? Well, some of the latest stats, 60 million Americans have some type of sleep disturbance. So 300 million Americans in the United States, 60 million of them have some type of issue. So more than 1 in 5. More than 1 in 5 persons. So if this is you, you're not alone, is the whole point here. A lot of people have it. So why is this happening? Again, our busier lives, busier work schedules, burning the candle both ends. Again, we're in this fast-paced world. You know, sometimes we got to slow down. Very, very important. But over time, it plays a role. So, of course, there is the medication side of sleep, and these are your top drugs for sleep. Again, we just talked about the benzos, the benzodiazepines, which are anxiety drugs, Valium. Then again, the biggest one, of course, for sleep is Ambien. Okay, but those are your top ones. Again, the research on these drugs has shown that they do not improve sleep quality whatsoever. They do not. Some people do say they do get to sleep using these, but they actually over time do not. But they are very addictive, extremely addictive, and also when you wake up, usually you feel very groggy. You feel almost in a zombie state, some people report on these as well. And the other thing associated with these medications is that there's more and more cases of people who are sleepwalking, sleep eating, and there are some cases where people are sleep driving on Ambien. Yeah, yes. So, yes, that's how dangerous these drugs can be. So it's a big, big, big issue on that. Now, obviously we have a different approach, right? And again, here's how we're looking at it. Here's how we're attacking it nutritionally. So what we just talked about a moment ago, balancing those neurotransmitters through your sleep cycle, serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, stimulating your alpha brain waves, and promoting healthy serotonin levels, which are essential for falling asleep and staying asleep and getting into your deep sleep, which is known as your REM. So again, here's a little background again on the neurotransmitters. We talked about it already. Here it is in more detail. As I said, these are your messenger signals in your brain from one nerve cell to another. If you have sleep issues, there's some type of deficit going on or this connection is not fully happening. So we're trying to make that connection much easier and affects, obviously, the sleep disturbance. So again, serotonin, we know, as we said numerous times, influences mood, appetite, and sleep. Dopamine also influences mood, and during your REM, it can actually be depleted. And in your GABA, which we have been talking about there, also can be depleted in your REM. So all these are critical with sleep as well. aspects. So this is the way it's supposed to work. A normal sleep cycle goes through 4 different stages: light, intermediate, deep, and then your REM. And during the REM, again, is where you have your greatest natural growth hormone levels. So this is where we really want to get to. But again, if you're having sleep issues or you're on the medications, they don't get to this. You don't get to this area. And that's where the big problem lies. So the whole idea there is just to completely go through the whole process and rebalance. And typically this happens 4 to 6 times. You repeat the cycle 4 to 6 times if you are sleeping properly throughout the night. Okay? So, with that in mind, this would be our number 1 formula for sleep, called sleep time. How appropriate. So it has the exact same ingredients as the Calm Day does, but we added 2 additional ingredients. We added the tryptophan, okay, 5-HTP, and we added melatonin. So this will get you to sleep and keep you asleep throughout the entire night, and it works on all 4 of those sleep cycles. So if you haven't seen this, I'll pass it around for you. Dosage is very simple and easy. We would start with, I typically now start with 2 capsules. Okay? I typically start with 2 capsules 30 to 60 minutes before bed. For children under 12, I would go 1 capsule, but adults, I now start with 2 capsules. For most people, 9 out of 10 times, 2 capsules works really well. Works really well. If you do not have a good night's sleep, okay, if you wake up in the middle of the night, for example, okay, or you have trouble getting to sleep, then we bump this up by 1 capsule. So the next night we would bump it up to 3 capsules. 3 capsules. So if you're still having trouble sleeping, we bump it up to 4 capsules. Okay? But 4 capsules would be really the maximum dosage that we would recommend with this formula. And I have not had anybody that's needed to take more than 4 capsules with this supplement. Okay? Most people, 2 capsules works 9 out of 10 times. Now, we have this in 2 sizes, 60 or 120 capsule size. Okay? I also want to mention one other thing too here. I have a chiropractor that I work with in the South Hills area, and he works with several of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they have a tremendous amount of hard time getting to sleep the night before games because they're very anxious and wound up. And then the night after a football game, their body's very inflamed, a lot of pain, and they have tremendous difficulty getting to sleep after a game. So he's been using this formula with several of the Pittsburgh Steelers since we introduced it, and they absolutely love it. In fact, they have told me that it's the only supplement that they've ever tried and used that they actually really do feel a difference. Now, if we could just wake them up in time before the Tampa Bay game, right, that might be helpful, right? They better be awake next week. But anyway, so we are working with athletes who are using this as well. I'm just using that as an example. Just wanted to mention that there on that. Now, the one issue, again, just like we talked about with the control, with this formula, is your antidepressants because of the tryptophan. Because of the tryptophan. So I'm just going to, little side note here, talking about antidepressants. Okay? If you're on an antidepressant, or you're thinking about going on an antidepressant, or you know somebody who is on an antidepressant, I have just a little homework assignment for you to do. And that is, if you have internet access, you go to YouTube, okay, and you type this in, 60 minutes, the placebo effect. And this is a 13-minute video, okay, 13-minute video. And this was an interview that was done in 60 Minutes about 3 years ago. They interviewed a Harvard medical doctor who basically looked at the research on antidepressants. He looked at all of the studies that have ever been done in the United States by the drug companies on antidepressants. And what he found was truly unbelievable. For a drug to be approved in the United States, you need 2 double-blind placebo-controlled studies. 2, okay, for a drug to be approved. Well, with Prozac, which was the first antidepressant on the market, the drug manufacturers of Prozac, they did 22 double-blind placebo-controlled studies. The first 20 studies showed no difference between a sugar pill and Prozac for mild to moderate depression. But they didn't tell the FDA, oh, by the way, the first 20 didn't work. They just kept narrowing their scope, finding the right segment and right group of people for this drug to get passed through. Then he went back and he looked at all the other antidepressants that have hit the market since Prozac, and all of them have done at least 6, meaning the first 4 showed no difference between a sugar pill and that antidepressant for mild to moderate depression. But again, they do not tell the FDA the full disclosure, okay? The full disclosure. So based on this information, England has banned antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. They're the first country in the world to do this, based on this information on antidepressants. And so in the interview, they also interview the head of the England's version of the FDA, and he goes how deeply concerned he is about this research and these studies, and why the reasons why they banned antidepressants. And of course, they interview the head of the United States FDA, and he of course says, yeah, that has a completely different opinion, right? So, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe Dr. Weiner, Nutritional Frontiers, will you believe a Harvard medical doctor that has absolutely no bias whatsoever, breaking down the research on what's really going on with antidepressants? By the way, this is 13 minutes, 13-minute video. It's one of the most powerful videos I've ever seen on antidepressants. Okay, so I've recommended this to many people, many doctors that I work with. When they watch it and they recommend it to their patients, they've responded back that this has changed their life and it's actually saved people's lives. Okay? Because these are very dangerous drugs. Very dangerous. There's a lot of side effects. A lot of side effects on it. And once you start on them, they're very difficult to get off of them. We can help you, but it's a very slow process. And you would never want to go cold turkey. But this is a fabulous interview. Okay? So that's my little soapbox there on antidepressants, but I just want to mention that. So if you are on an antidepressant, what we would recommend then would be the calm day. Okay? We would do 2 calm day at night, 30 to 60 minutes, and we would add melatonin. So it would be the same formula as the sleep time minus the tryptophan. So that is our way around the antidepressant issue with this formula. Okay, so I just want to show you how we do that. So there's a little bit more on tryptophan. Okay, 5-HTP. Why we're using it? Again, there's a lot of great research behind it. Okay, helps with mood, appetite, sleep, pain, all different types of issues. Excellent safety profile, very well tolerated, helps regulate sleep. Helps improve all those different sleep cycles that we talked about. That's why we're recommending it there. The other drug, again, I mentioned this already, but with both of these, we would not do either one if you're on the benzodiazepines, which are your anxiety drugs. This is your Valium. This is your Xanax, clonazepam, okay, benzodiazepine family. These are your more popular ones, though, Valium and Xanax, okay? We would not do either one because that first ingredient, that 4-amino-3-phenylbutyric acid, that phenobut, works on the same receptor sites as these anxiety drugs. And these anxiety drugs are even much more dangerous than antidepressants. Extremely dangerous drugs are these anxiety drugs. And if you want to do a little research on the anxiety drugs, they did a study in the past 20 years, Every mass murder shooting that's killed more than 3 people in the United States, they only have one common thread, only one similarity, and is that every single one of them have been on the benzodiazepines. Every single one. Okay? Now you might say, if my family member was shot by somebody in a mass murder shooting, why didn't they go after the drug company? Because a few years ago, Congress passed a law that said that they are not responsible for any action taken by somebody taking their anxiety drug. They are completely clean, hands-free. Okay? So they can literally get away with murder, the drug companies. So if you just type that in, Google that, you will find that information. There's numerous studies that have shown that. Now, if you're on these drugs, we can help you. Okay? This is what we would recommend. Our Neuramax, which is a liquid drink, or if you don't want to do a liquid, or Enter-DMG chewables, which I did a whole talk on the other day about. It rewires your circuitry in your brain. Our normally we recommend our Super B Complete, but we're temporarily out of that, so our B Complex is very similar. 2 capsules a day that gets you all your B vitamins. Okay? And fish oil, excellent for your brain. 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. This is what we would recommend while you're on the benzodiazepines and the antidepressants. Working with your prescribing physician, telling him that you want to wean off of them. Never go cold turkey. Never, ever, ever. Yes?
Would you consider using L-theanine with that?
Yes, absolutely. You can add L-theanine to it, especially anxiety, panic attack. Absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, you can. Okay? Yeah.
Are those drugs the same as what they call serotonin reuptake?
Well, those more the SSRIs, those are more your antidepressants. So that's more your Prozac, and those the classification of those are called. Okay? By the way, does anybody know, this is some new research, does anybody know the most profitable drug last year in the United States? Anybody know that? No, it's not. The second, Crestor was number 2. What's that? Prozac was not. No. No, it was not. No, it wasn't. Anybody else? This shocked me. I did not realize this. The number 1 profitable drug last year in the United States was Abilify. Abilify. Does anybody know what that is? Anybody seen it?
They like add it to your SSRIs if
That's
you're
right.
taking it.
That's right. It's an add-on. If your antidepressant does not work, or it's not working as well as it used to, add Abilify. That's how they're marketing it. Add Abilify. The drug company who sells Abilify made $7 billion last year. That's just the United States. It's an add-on. It's an add-on. If you don't have insurance, it costs $1,500 to fill a prescription. That costs them 30 cents to make. Okay? So that is what we are battling, folks. By the way, if you can Google that, if you want to find out all the top-selling drugs, go to Medscape. It's like top-selling drugs, 2013. Okay? Crestor was number 2. They made $6 billion last year. Third was Nexium, $5 billion last year. Okay? So that is what we're dealing against. So who is running Congress? Who is paying for those campaigns? Who is passing that legislature? That's right. That's what we're battling against,
And they're
folks.
funding the medical schools too.
Yes. Okay. So it's an uphill battle, right? It's an uphill battle. But I just wanted to share that with. By the way, Abilify is listed. It's not an antidepressant. It's not an anxiety drug. It's an suicide drug. It's what's that other classification? It's in a different concept. It'll come back to me here, but anyways, it's not even an antidepressant. That's what's scary about it. So let's move on. So we have some other supplements here. So the B vitamins, again, normally we would recommend Super B Complete. We should be getting that in any week, okay? In the meantime, we have our B complex, which is very similar, okay? B vitamins do a lot of different benefits on that, okay? And then melatonin. So melatonin, we talked about it again. If you're on those medications, this would be our way around it instead of the tryptophan ingredient, using melatonin. And some people have been using melatonin and really like it. Okay, so we have 3 different strengths. We have a 1 milligram strength that we recommend for children. Here you go, sir. Okay. We have a 3 milligram strength that we would recommend for adults. Okay. And the one, though, that I like the most, if we're going to use melatonin, is our SR3. And this stands for sustained release. Sustained release. So the challenge with melatonin is most people, it'll help you get to sleep, but sometimes people wake up in the middle of the night and they have trouble getting back to sleep. So the sustained release lasts much longer. It extends those sleep cycles. And we've gotten the best results with the SR3. So of all the choices on the melatonin, the SR3 is the one that we would prefer and we would recommend. Oh, I remember, the Abilify is classified as an antipsychotic drug. It's an antipsychotic drug that they do not tell you on the advertisements. So it's not even an antidepressant, but they want you to add an antipsychotic drug to your antidepressant. So I knew it would come back to me. Okay, so melatonin, a lot of people love it. Not everybody does, right? So again, the sleep time takes melatonin to a whole new level. But if you have gotten great results with melatonin, stick with it. Stick with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So we have the 3 options there. We just wanted you to be aware with it. Typically, we recommend up to 9 milligrams a day. Three times a day would be the max that we typically recommend on melatonin, although I've seen some recent studies where they're going even higher dosing as well without any problems. But 3 a day would typically be the most aspects of it there as far as that goes. Okay, some other options that we have. We do have an herbal tincture called Sleep and Relaxation. So if you have tried melatonin, if you've tried the sleep time, and for whatever reason it's just you're not really feeling a difference, then I would really recommend you try the Sleep and Relaxation herbal tincture. Again, what's great is that I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of different doctors' offices, a lot of different healthcare professionals, and I'm constantly getting feedback, what's working, what's not. I'm constantly getting this kind of information. And recently I had one person I was working with, and she tried the sleep time. She's used melatonin. She tried the sleep time, and it just didn't really seem to be working. So she tried the tincture. 2 droppers, glass of water before she goes to bed, and she swears by it. She absolutely loves this, the sleep and herbal tincture. So again, it's all herbals. Just has a very calming and relaxing effect. So for those who don't want to do pills, is another way you could look at this as another option on the tinctures as well. Okay. And then we have the minerals or magnesium. So if you pass that on, if you get a lot of muscle cramping, muscle spasms, Charlie horses, and this is the reason why you are having sleep issues, then it's usually a mineral deficiency. Okay? And this is what we would start with, the minerals or magnesium. We can do just a straight magnesium or Mag Complete. 4 a day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. Very simple, very easy, and you should notice a big difference in just a few days. Most people notice it in 2 days or less. I should also mention if you are taking cholesterol lower medication, if you're on Crestor or Zyc or Lipitor or any of those statin drugs, it depletes CoQ10, and that could also lead to muscle cramping, muscle tightness, muscle spasms. So in that case, we would recommend our CoQ10, our Power Q, and we would go 200 milligrams a day. So that's another area there that we would look at as well on that. Okay, so we listed the references there for you to see. Now if we open up this brochure real quick, the sleep and stress brochure. You have one? Okay. So we gave you all the options there so you can see them all in print. We gave you a lot of different tips on reducing stress on the other side. And we gave you some helpful tips on what to eat and what to avoid, things that you should be focused on. Obviously, we try to avoid caffeine, okay, if you're having trouble sleeping. We would really limit the sugar if possible as well. We always start there. But again, just a nice general guideline on what to eat, what not to eat, okay? So, that is everything for my talk. Did anybody have any questions at all? Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Fibromyalgia, the doctor recommended the muscle relaxer.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take any medicine, so
Yeah.
I've been using the Calm Day. But
Okay.
he says it'll store in the tissues. Now, I'm thinking that the Calm Day must too, because I will notice if I take it, the next day I feel the reaction still.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking that it stays with you for a while when you take it. Now, I take it when I go to bed because I do get, it's a foreign state for me to feel that relaxed, and I feel that I do get sleepy, but I think it's more that I have to get used to being calm.
Yes.
And so I think I should continue just taking it at night and then take it every day.
Yeah, again, the whole idea is to get to where your body heals itself. Again, your brain starts functioning better on its own. So you want to really start once you get to achieve where you're at, and then when you finish a bottle, you might want to start experimenting and start lowering the dosage and see if your body reacts to that and see how well it reacts. So when we're talking about the brain, again, very complex issues going on, we just have to, just kind of constantly keep experimenting with the dosage, trying to use less and less to the point where none at all, okay? By the way, for fibromyalgia, the number one supplement we would recommend for that is the Power Fuel. The Power Fuel, right? Is 9 out of 10 times the mitochondrial nutrient deficiency. And very simply, 1 scoop in the morning and 1 scoop at lunch, 2 scoops a day, and most people feel a huge difference in 3 to 7 days. So again, if it's true fibromyalgia, that would be our starting point for fibromyalgia is the Power Fuel, okay? Yes, but if you're not used to being relaxed, it is an adjustment period. It is an adjustment, so it's a constant process, right? And again, you just have to continue to keep that effort up, okay?
I think it's good to just take it sporadically. I think that
No, these things every day continue. You really want to be consistently, just like eating consistently the healthy foods, exercising consistently, just with the supplements consistently. When we miss days, that's when we really play havoc on the brain. Okay? Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Doesn't the Calm Day have the tryptophan in it?
The Calm Day, let me see. Let me just go back to that. Just want to make sure. No, the Calm Day does not, only the sleep time. So the Calm Day you can take if you're on antidepressant. We just would not take it if you're on a benzodiazepine, if you're on anxiety drug. We would take theanine instead. Okay? All right, so Calm Day is safe. But do that research, do that homework. All right, any other questions? All right, folks, my time is up. I'll be in the back. Thank you so much. We did make some extra handouts, so if anybody that you know was not able to attend, you can bring some home with you, okay? Thank you. Have a great day.